NBA free agency just getting started. Already a ton of moves. Already a lot of things happening. And it's not, to be honest, it's not really a lot of player movement. It's a lot of people staying with the same teams for extension. So just a few names to get right off the bat. Tyrese Halliburton, 5-year, $260 million deal with Indiana. Steven said to me before the show that makes Halliburton now the highest paid player in the NBA over Steph Curry.
$52 million a year.
That's crazy. Desmond Bane, 5-year, $207 million max with the Grizzlies. Strus has gone to Cleveland in a sign and trade, 4-year, $63 million to Cleveland. Jackson Hayes going to the Lakers for an undisclosed amount of money. It hasn't come out yet. We know it's 2 years, though, at least. The Blazers all in on Jeremy Grant, giving him 5-year, $160 million.
Waste.
Good for you, I guess. Fred VanVleet, 3-year, $130 million to Houston. Didn't see Houston coming. It's a strange pickup, but
it's very strange.
I mean, he's probably going after the money at that point. But Houston already has a lot of guards. Like they have young, with Jalen Green, and but there's Kevin Porter Jr. That's what I was trying to think of. Yeah. So yeah, a weird guard pickup for them. Chris Middleton staying with Milwaukee 3 years, $102 million. Draymond staying with Golden State for 4 years, $100 million. And a move I also didn't see coming. Dennis Schroeder is going to Toronto for 2 years, $26 million. I thought for sure they were going to keep him and move off of D'Angelo. We'll still see if that happens, but surprising. Those are some of the bigger names, but not really worth going in too deep with. But the Middleton I saw coming. Kuzma staying with the Wizards for 4 years, $102 million. It's a lot of money, but I saw that coming with him staying. We knew Draymond was going to stay. So, yeah, not a whole lot of super shocking moves here, but nonetheless, all of these are very impactful to the rest of the NBA.
The biggest ones that you named there for me that I think were the ones that were most shocking was the Fred VanVleet to Houston. From a winning standpoint doesn't make much sense to me. I love their roster. I think, I was telling you last night that probably makes them a play-in team. There's a lot of names though that haven't been signed yet that are still floating around out there too that we're going to talk about. So, I'm interested to see. Yeah, I'm glad that these guys re-signed with their teams, but it sounds like they're not done, some of these teams.
Yeah. I was thinking a little one that's nice is Derrick Rose going back to Memphis to be. Yeah, it's a nice signing. Good for Derrick Rose. But yeah, I don't think any of these signings are super noteworthy as far as like going real in depth. But again, they are important enough that it impacts the rest of the NBA and their teams at large. Now, the two free agency decisions that I had not mentioned that we are going to talk about in more detail. Kyrie Irving has re-signed with Dallas for 3 years, $126 million. I think we both and the world at large were pretty confident that Kyrie was going to be going somewhere else. I think Dallas, though, had no choice. I mean, just Kyrie Irving, his trade value has never been lower.
Ever.
No one doubts that Kyrie is an all-star, and no one doubts that Kyrie is, a bona fide starting point guard.
Greatest ball handler ever.
Right, and if you want to, where you draw the line at best players in the league, that's all whatever, but he might be in that group, sure. But just nobody wants him. And again, Dallas... their hand was forced in I'm sure they tried shopping him. I'm sure that there was a lot more they could do with that money to help Luka, but what more could they do? Kyrie in 2015, 18, 20, 21 did not play whole seasons due to injury. 22, he did not play a whole season because of his vaccine issues and the COVID protocol stuff. He clearly can't handle himself off the court. It's all these other things that has nothing to do with his play. So if he is, I guess, happy or doing better in Dallas, what more would you want? But I just think they could have spent that money more on getting Luka more legitimate help that he needed for this coming season.
No, yeah, I mean, you're right. Out of 328 possible games in the last 4 seasons, Kyrie Irving has played less than half of those. He's played 162 out of 328 possible games. That means he sat out 165 of them. You're also talking about Dallas, where we've also both mentioned that Dallas is an incredibly hard market to pull people into. So you're right. I don't know what other choice Dallas had. Now, is paying Kyrie Irving the same amount of money as Luka Doncic totally egregious? Yes. I do not think that Kyrie Irving is worth $40 million a year. Dallas needs to be careful, and they need to go out and get Luka more help than Kyrie Irving, because they were, fourth in the West before they got Kyrie, fifth in the West before they got Kyrie, and didn't even make the play-in after Kyrie. So
dropped to the 11 seed.
Yeah, so just to pay a guy like that kind of money, and to put your faith as an organization into Kyrie Irving, who is, on this list that I have, has requested the second most trades in the last 23 years.
I think Luka can be sometimes a bit of a baby and sometimes a bit of a drama queen, and I think he has not an attitude issue, but maybe like a short temper. And I think with Kyrie, who already kind of was causing some not antics, but like questionable things about the Mavs making offseason moves and people coming in as if like Luka wasn't enough.
Yeah,
I think in this season, there's a scenario where Luka or where Kyrie does something or does several things, and Luka's like, man, I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't play with this guy. And I think that goes the same way with Dallas. Like, everyone knows that Luka needs Dallas needs some size. They
yes.
need other reliable scorers. They need they need defense. The Mavs are not good on because Kyrie and Luka are both not great defenders on their own. And so they needed all these other things that were not Kyrie Irving. And it's kind of like with Portland, where at what point does Luka take all this as a slap in the face to him? And if they're gonna treat him like that, maybe he eventually says, "I'll go somewhere where I am more value." Because you're right, Dallas is not a great market, but neither is Milwaukee. But I think playing with Giannis or Luka should be enticing enough that you would want to go there. Like I said, I don't know if the Mavs had much choice just because they knew they weren't going to get back what they wanted to for Kyrie Irving. But I also don't know how hard they really tried to get Luka more help and do what they needed to do for him.
Yeah, well said. I think we've touched all the bases on this. It's a weird signing.
Yeah, and the other signing we wanted to talk about was James Harden has opted into his player option, meaning he is staying with Philadelphia, but he's only doing that so they can trade him to a better situation.
Yeah.
So James Harden and essentially wants control of a team and to be the primary guy as if he is still 2018, 2019 James Harden. James Harden wants to play for a contender where he can control the ball, score 30, 35 points, get, 10 assists, be the man. Yeah, Steve.
Which contender is he going to be able to do that on, Cam?
I don't know.
Maybe a contender where James Harden's the best player on the team and can control the ball.
Can't.
Okay. All right.
Can't. Yeah. He just wants to be the man and have fun and score a lot of points, but also play for a title. And like you just said, there's no current contender, East or West, where James Harden will be the primary ball handler, be the guy with the ball, and you're still contending for a championship. It doesn't exist. Now, we had mentioned earlier, you had said about Chicago being a nice fit for him. Chicago's fine, but Chicago's not playing for a title. And and he wants to go to the Clippers, where he will not be the best player or the superstar. He will be the main playmaker, but that offense is running through Kawhi. Also, it's not like James Harden has this tremendous playoff value. He's proven every single season that he drops in the playoffs. So if you're actually a contender, what kind of value does James Harden bring to your team?
From a holistic standpoint, you've mentioned to me he's not a great locker room presence, and I agree with that. He's not like a team guy. And the other thing I'll mention to you about James Harden, and I wrote this down because I wanted to share this with you over the phone, over our stream. Since 2000, in the 21st century, a guy named Bill Simmons created a list of who has requested the most trades since 2000. James Harden is at the top with 3.
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving is second with 2.
Yeah.
And from there is a list of about 8 guys that all have 1. Like, what does James Harden want? What does James Harden like? What is he trying to? I don't understand.
I just think he's delusional. So here's what James Harden is going to teams and saying. I'm a GM of a contending NBA team. And James Harden says to me, "Hey, I want $40 million. I want the ball in my hands. I want to be the main point of the offense. I'm not guaranteed to stay with you the entire time. I'm not guaranteed to really help you off the court in any way, shape, or form. I might get hurt. I might be out of shape. I'm not what I used to be, but I have a cool beard. How do we feel about this? Why would I give James Harden $40 million for what? I just don't understand. He thinks he has this value that he just does not have. You can't be a bad playoff performer. You can't be in bad health all the time. You can't be a bad or not great locker room presence, and you can't not have that much single value to winning and expect to get $40 million on a contending championship team. It's just not how it works. That's not how it works. Listen to the sound. I listen to the sound.